Since when were Santas ever black? They're never black. They're always black in my hood, player. I'm not gonna lie, that was classic. Up next is my TLC review. What's up, people? This is the Nature Girl 30 here, and this is Monday morning, the morning after TLC. Now, how can I rate TLC? Was it like a giant ball of suckage? No. Was it a giant ball of suckage with a twist of lame and a little bit of predictability in there? Maybe. Was it a whole bunch of filler and like completely predictable matches? Yeah. Okay, I really don't have a lot of good things to say about TLC except for possibly the last match of the night and also the World Heavyweight Championship match. But I'm gonna go ahead and give a fair review on this, so I'm not gonna be totally biased or just completely just rant the whole thing. At the beginning, the U.S. Championship match. Now, I honestly like this. I'm not hating on it totally because Zack Ryder really did bring it. He brought it all. He put his whole self in that match. And you can tell that Dolph Ziggler was doing his best to keep up with him. And it was a real good match. I'm not hating on that at all. And seeing that how Zack Ryder became the U.S. champion was a good move on their part. Because they've done all this hyping about him, you know, ranting about how he needs to have a title shot, also his petition, pretty much setting up a whole lot of hype around the match. It would have been dumb on their part to not have Zack Ryder win. So having him win the U.S. Championship was the best move on the WWE's part. Way to go, guys. And also, congratulations to Zack Ryder. Yay! Woo, woo, woo! Okay, I'm going to be done with my own Margaret moment there. But anyway, moving on. The one thing that kind of pissed me off about the IC match was it was just complete teasers. Like, first, it was supposed to start, and then Booker T ended up getting hit. First, he got hit backstage, then he got hit on his way out, and then we weren't even sure what the status of the match was going to be. So, in the end, they keep putting in all of these other matches out of the blue. We ended up having a tag team match out of the blue that was completely predictable, and for some reason, I don't know, if it's something that I missed, please leave your comment below or send me a video. Or just let me know what is going on here. Because Epico and Primo just made their debut. Oh, I forgot. Rosa Mendez. They made their debut this past SmackDown. So what in the world made them #1 contenders for the tag team championships when there's so many other good tag teams that are better than them that should have been there instead of them? And how in the world were they even able to even be in a tag team championship match for tonight? I thought you had to pretty much go through the motions and actually go through a #1 contendership match in order to be a #1 contender for the tag team titles. Is it just me, or are they kind of switching the whole game on me? But anyway, they were not ready for a championship match. It was a given that they were not ready. These people should not even have been in the match at all. But you know, the Air Boom still retains their titles, and it's a matter of time that they're going to lose their titles, but who knows when. I guess as soon as they start building up their tag division, maybe they'll have somebody take the belts from them. But moving on from there, good grief. Why, oh why, was there a Divas Championship match tonight? Do not get me wrong, I love Beth Phoenix, but there was nobody that was a #1 contender for her belt. They didn't even have a match for it. And here comes Kelly Kelly getting another shot again, and she ended up losing again. The point is, Kelly Kelly does not deserve to be in the title running again. She needs to step back and actually find somebody that's pretty much in the same caliber as Beth Phoenix instead of throwing her in there because she's pretty. And that's pretty much what they're doing. I've already made a video about this before. Yes, they're in the entertainment business. Yes, all they care about is looks. But it's still sad. Really is. And the fact that they have a championship match on a pay-per-view that was not announced didn't make any sense to me. And also the fact that it was as predictable can be, because all these fillers had the same predictable outcome. The one with Sheamus and Jack Swagger out of the blue had the same predictable outcome. Sheamus won. Beth Phoenix match for the Divas Championship, Beth won. Duh. And then a tag match. Air Boom won. Duh. What's the point of having fillers if they're not going to be spontaneous? I mean, for crying out loud, have somebody else different win. Not to mention those that actually do need the push, like Jack Swagger. Jack Swagger really needed the win from Sheamus on that pay-per-view. Even though it was TLC, and even though TLC was thrown together, it really would have helped his career if he won that match. But he didn't. Okay, moving on from there, the Randy Orton and Wade Barrett match. Now, this really pissed me off because Wade Barrett had a huge push as of late. He was doing great. It was great for his career to actually be put over by Randy Orton. But we all know how long that was going to be. He got buried by John Cena at the last TLC pay-per-view. Now he's getting buried again by Randy Orton in this pay-per-view. Come on, he really needed this for his career. Randy Orton has been there, done that, got the t-shirt. It's Wade Barrett's time. It was time for the Barrett Barrage. And it really would have been a great storyline to have the Barrett Barrage take over. But instead, Randy Orton had to have his way, and he had to win. That just really pissed me off. And one thing that really just didn't make any sense to me was seeing two old people fight for almost, it felt like it was more than 20 minutes. It felt like it was a long time. And I'm talking about Triple H versus Kevin Nash. Don't get me wrong. Triple H is, he's had some legendary matches. And he's going to be a Hall of Famer someday. Kevin Nash should have just hung it up a long time ago. And I'm not saying this because of the fact that it's just a given. It's something that he just can't do anymore. I'm not saying because he's old. I'm just saying because it's a given that his body can't take it anymore. But the match was so slow. The match was so sluggish, and it just wouldn't end. And as soon as Triple H got the sledgehammer, I thought he was just going to end it, pin it, and end it. Like, he was just going to hit him and then pin it, and then they'll be done. No! It kept going. And this was a match that I really wanted to end and end fast. But he kept continuing, and then Triple H finally won. And that was over. And then they finally decided to have the IC match, the IC Championship match, after all the teasers that they've had the entire night, after Booker T getting hit not once but twice by Cody Rhodes. Finally, they had this match. You would have thought that he would have brought it. You would have thought that it would have been a match that just outshined everything because there was a legend that was in there. I'm not talking about Jerry Lawler. He drags his matches out like, good grief, like he's watching paint dry. But with Booker T, he brings flair. He brings finesse to all of his moves. And I was really hoping that this match was going to outshine everything. It didn't. It was kind of subpar. I mean, don't get me wrong. Booker T, seeing him do the spin-a-rooney, half the time he looked like he knew where he was. He looked like he knew where he was at. And we all knew that he was going to lose because he's not, he's going to be a Hall of Famer someday. And he doesn't want to go back full time. So it wouldn't make any sense for him to actually win. So we all knew Cody Rhodes was going to win. But Cody Rhodes, I have to say, wasn't bad. But the match was still subpar. It could have been like one of those matches that outshined them all. But it just didn't. And it was sad. Another match that I was so looking forward to besides Zack Ryder's match was the World Heavyweight Championship between The Big Show and Mark Henry. Man, I love that match. I'm not gonna lie. The Big Show was crunk. He was crunk the whole time. I mean, there were times that they were slow. But when he took his giant hand and just, boom, just took the fist and just nailed him right in the face, I was screaming so loud that if I had neighbors, they would hear me. I was so crunk when he won. And then the infamous chair shot to the back of the leg. And here comes Daniel Bryan after Mark Henry took him out. That saddened me so much because as much as I like the Money in the Bank, as interesting as it is, it just seems so cowardly for them to come out there after the guy is down and and just pin him and take the belt. He's been waiting 9 years and it's gone. But that's just me because I like the Big Show. But if I actually had somebody that I liked that had the Money in the Bank and they just came up and did that, I would be just cheering and just screaming my head off. So it's really, I can't be biased about that. Plus, I can't, the only thing that kind of bothered me is that Daniel Bryan, the only edge that he had was the Money in the Bank briefcase. But now the Money in the Bank briefcase is gone. He's cashed it in. He's champion. If he loses that belt, he loses all relevancy in the WWE. And that's the one thing that I fear. I think that it was a bad idea for him to cash it in now before the Royal Rumble. He should have waited until WrestleMania, because it would have kept him more relevant. They wouldn't have tried to get rid of him. But now if he loses his belt, that's it. He'll have absolutely no point, no rhyme, no reason to even be in a storyline anymore. So for the fact that they wanted Daniel Bryan to cash the Money in the Bank now was a really horrible mistake on their part. Because if he loses that belt, that's it. He's done. His career is pretty much over. He's better off either going to ROH or TNA, because he will be not relevant anymore after losing that title. So I think that was a bad move on their part. And I'm emphasizing how bad it was. But then going on to the main event of the night, the WWE Championship between Alberto Del Rio, The Miz, and CM Punk. I was excited when I was watching this match. 2 times you thought that CM Punk was out. He got handcuffed twice and he found his way to get out. He broke the ladder to take out Alberto Del Rio. And then when he was handcuffed to the turnbuckle by The Miz, he found a way to loosen up the turnbuckle to get out and get back in the game again. The whole time I was on my feet. Don't get me wrong. I would have liked to see The Miz to actually be champion again, but it was still even more exciting to see how CM Punk got out of those sticky situations. And even though now he still retains the title, he's still going to make it exciting. He's still going to make it interesting. He's still going to make it spontaneous. So it's kind of a win-win for me. But all in all, I have to say this pay-per-view really was not worth the price that they were asking for. Now, for people who have cable, they pay $54 for it. For people who have satellite, they pay $49 for HD. It was not worth the price that they asked for. It was worth at least $30 or maybe $20, because number one, there was far too much filler, far too much predictable filler at that. And then the teaser with the IC match was just ridiculous. They just kept trying to stretch it out 3 hours. And what they should have done was they should have just made it 2, and that was it. It would have been fine with the card it was on. They didn't have to add 3 more matches. But it was really disappointing for me to see Wade Barrett lose, because Wade Barrett, he's a great fighter. And he should have at least had that moment where the Barrett Barrage took over, because that would have made an interesting storyline. But I guess maybe it's just too hard for the writers to write anything about the Barrett Barrage. But honestly, it wasn't worth the price. It definitely wasn't worth the price. But this was a real lackluster performance. There were probably 2 matches that shined throughout the 8 matches that they had there, and that's bad. So I gotta give this whole thing a rating of a C-. I'm being generous here. It should be a D. But with the match that I saw with the last match of the night, Zack Ryder and the Big Show's match, then that brings it up a little bit to a C-. This is the Nature Girl 30 signing off. I'll see you on Raw. Peace out, y'all.